Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching In Depth.
On Now You Know. We're brought to you by ecoware.us. Start positive conversations with carbon negative products.
Yeah, there's so many cool products, and there's free shipping on everything. And we're brought to you by abetterrouteplanner.com, our favorite EV trip planner with waypoints. Use our link in the show notes below. You'll get a 30-day free trial to a Better Route Planner premium app. Plan your next EV trip with abetterrouteplanner.com. And we're sponsored by bigbattery.com with the best battery prices in the USA, guaranteed. If you've got something you need to power, from homes to cars, RVs to boats, and much more, bigbattery.com has you covered. Offering the newest battery tech, use the code NOWYOUKNOW to save 5% off your purchase today at bigbattery.com. All right, so this In Depth is about Tesla gaming. This could be a stock upgrade. Ding, 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 ding.
So Tesla just announced that the refreshed Model S and X are going to have powerful gaming computers in them.
All right, so more powerful gaming computer. What happens if that crashes? Does the car crash?
No. Tesla has separate driving systems for both the full self-driving / autopilot computer and also your driving computer.
Oh, that's why we can reboot the car while we're driving.
Right. And the screen will shut off and then it'll reboot. And then meanwhile, you're driving, 70 miles an hour on the highway. It doesn't affect either the full self-driving. You can actually be in autopilot and restart the car, although it won't tell you to shake the wheel because there's no screen. But yeah, there's separate systems. So for people who are worried that what if the game crashes? It's not going to affect you driving the car at all. So I think that this is essentially just going to be an upgrade to the MCU on the Model S and X. So the Model 3 and the Model Y both have upgraded MCUs from, say, the original Model S and X, because that allowed them to load YouTube and Netflix and stuff on those screens. Now we're getting a bigger update on this, a really powerful computer to run the MCU on the S and X.
So let's talk about the games that you can play now on that computer. So you can play The Witcher 3. Elon's a big fan of The Witcher, both I think the books and the TV show and now the game. And this is an older game, let's be honest. It came out in 2009, the original Witcher, and The Witcher 3 came out in, I think, 2015. Mm-hmm. So it's not the newest, latest game. But Elon also tweeted out that the cars could possibly play Cyberpunk 2077, which is a brand new AAA game.
Right. Now, it's not clear as to whether the car is going to have Cyberpunk or whether it just has the chops to play it. An important thing to keep in mind is that a lot of people try to compare the computer that's in the Model S to the latest Xbox or PlayStation. And it's important to keep in mind that the screen on the Model S and X is a lower resolution screen, so it's less work for the computer to have to display it to your eyes. It's not 4K, but you are sitting a lot closer to it.
And just to point out, both of these games, The Witcher and Cyberpunk, both are from the same publisher, CD Projekt Red, and both these games are very popular, both having sold over 60 million copies worldwide. But now, I know what's going on. A lot of our viewers are older and they're tuning out right now because they're like, I don't care much about video games, so I'll go find another video that interests me. Hang on, you might be interested. What you got to keep in mind here is that gaming is a huge industry. So even if you're not a gamer and you don't really think you'll be playing games in your Tesla, this could be a big deal for the company and for the stock. Because one thing I want to mention is I was just watching a documentary on the Villages down in Florida. It's a retirement community, 130,000 people, and they have 3,000 clubs you can join down there. And hardly any of them are computer-based clubs. Most of them are golf or dancing or something physical. Why? Because people my age and older grew up doing physical things, going outside playing baseball and stuff. And so that's what we're used to playing as our recreational pastimes. Your age people and younger grew up playing computer games. So your idea of doing something social and hanging out is playing a video game.
And actually, the average age of a gamer is 33 years old. So actually not younger than me. Plenty of older people play video games as well.
That's a really good point, because it means 65% of U.S. adults play video games, according to the Entertainment Software Association.
Now, this includes both mobile games, PC games, and console games, which is a wide breadth of gaming in general. But there's a lot of people who play games, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
And there's a type of game which you might not even think of as computer games, which are mobile games. And those are basically on all of our phones right now, I'll bet you. I bet all of us have probably tried at least one. So I'm talking to you people, even if you're playing those little word scramble games. Mm-hmm. Those are mobile games. And worldwide, there are 2.4 billion mobile gamers, according to Newzoo. And get this, that blew my mind. But this next statistic really blew my mind. The average mobile gamer spends $86.50 a year.
On mobile games.
And what's amazing about this is most people who play mobile games don't pay anything. Like, I've played mobile games for years. I don't think I've ever spent a penny. That means that the small percentage of people, probably between 5 and 15% that do, are spending way more than $86.50 a year.
Right. So gaming is a moneymaker. And let's go through some of the biggest game publishers.
Yeah, so Activision Blizzard. You might be saying, what is that? Well, it's a game publisher, and they make tons of games, and their market cap is $72 billion. And I think you have heard of them because I think you've heard of these games like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, World of Warcraft. Yeah, those are all games they make. All right, next would be Sony Interactive Entertainment. They're the second largest video game publisher, and they're the largest video game console company. They make something called the PlayStation. Heard of it? PS4 has sold over 73 million units globally since 2017, and Sony has a market cap of $76 billion.
But Sony makes lots of other stuff. They make headphones and speakers, and I bet they make blenders and all sorts of junk.
But Sony's largest segment is gaming, and they made over $20 billion in 2019. And then there's Microsoft. They make the Xbox, and they own Xbox Game Studios, which is a game publisher. They had $3.1 billion in revenue from gaming in just the third quarter of 2020. And we could go on with Tencent, Nintendo, Electronic Arts, Take-Two. Basically, what you need to know here is that global video game revenue was estimated to be about $180 billion in 2020.
And let's just put this into perspective. Video games are now a bigger industry than movies and North American sports combined. And it's growing fast.
All right, so now I think we might have piqued your interest a little bit, and maybe you need to know a little bit more. So let's talk about game categories. I'd like to lump them into basically two. I know the gamers out there are going to get mad about it, but we're just dumbing this down a little bit. All right, to me, there's full games that you need to play on some kind of dedicated either PC or console because they require a lot of graphics, or there's mobile games we're all familiar with like Candy Crush or Clash of Clans.
And it used to be back in the day that when you wanted to get a new game, you would go down to GameStop and you would pick it up, and you'd either get it for the PC or the Xbox, and it would come in a box, and the whole way home you'd be looking at the box and you'd be like, oh my gosh, Age of Empires 2, can't wait to download it, install this. This is going to take me 3 hours to install. There's 2 discs in here. That is not the way that it works anymore. If you want to buy a new game, most of the time you are downloading it off of the internet. On PC, you're going to use a platform like Steam. It is a very popular PC gaming software platform. Essentially, you can buy almost any game, you download it to your computer, and then it lives on your account. So if you switch computers, if you want to go over your friend's house, you can even install the game on any computer that you're signed into, which is really great. And similarly, if you go over to Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo, it's a very similar story. Xbox has their own Xbox Live thing where you can buy a boxed version of the game, but you can also install it. And the same goes for PlayStation and Nintendo.
And then on the mobile side, you've basically got 2 major platforms. If you have an Android phone, you're going to be using probably Google Play. And if you've got an Apple phone, you're going to be using Apple Play. And that's where you're going to find and buy your games.
And so the interesting thing is that not all games can be played on all different platforms. Even if we're talking about full games or even some AAA games, sometimes they're going to be PlayStation exclusive like The Last of Us, or sometimes they're going to be Xbox exclusive like a Halo. And sometimes they get ported over to PC, sometimes they don't. There are plenty of games that you can only play on PC that you can't play on console.
But what's interesting here, if you kind of paid attention there, you saw that there's only a few names in the game. If you are one of these big players like Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Google Play, or Apple Play, you're one of the major players that kind of is the portal or the control to getting those games. And that's going to be important to remember as we continue. All right, so if Tesla wants to get into gaming and have gaming in the car, there's basically, I think, 2 ways they could do it. The first way is pretty simple. They'd have some kind of deal with Steam or Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo, and they would say, hey, we'd love to have your games in the car. Could you port them, make them playable in our car? And either you'll pay us or we'll pay you.
And the other way that Tesla could get games into the car would be to create their own platform, to be their own Steam. So let's talk about both of these different options. The easier and simpler way would be to sign the deal with Steam or Xbox, and then you would just say, hey, you now can get Xbox Live in your Tesla. And okay, great. That would be exciting. People will be like, awesome, I can take all of my games that I have either on Steam or on Xbox Live or whatever. I can just download them right to my Tesla, and then I can play that game on my car. How fun, how easy. And Tesla would be able to kind of be done with it. It might be profitable for Tesla. It might not, though.
Right. I mean, there's a big advantage here and a big disadvantage. The big advantage is that right away, like Jesse said, you have all those games. So that could be very attractive to people who want to get the car because they're like, cool, I get all my Xbox games in the Tesla. But on the other side of it, from Microsoft's point of view, it's like, we already have millions and millions of gamers around the world. Adding a little, 1 million new possible gamers from Tesla, is it that exciting for us to do? Probably not. So
and it wouldn't be a million gamers because it's going to only be in this new Model S and X. Right. And the base price of the Model S is $80,000. That's a pretty expensive gaming console, even when you compare it against the Xbox or the PlayStation.
Right. Or Tesla could make their own platform, but that would take longer because they need to make individual deals with individual publishers. So it looks something like this. Hello, this is Tesla Gaming. Who am I speaking with?
This is Rockstar Gaming. What's Tesla Gaming? I don't think I've heard of you before.
Yeah, we're new. We're new on the block. I was thinking you might want to get your games like Red Dead Redemption and GTA in our cars. What do you think?
So how would that work?
So our Tesla owners will buy the game on our platform. We'll collect the money, give you 90% of it. And then they'll be able to play their games in our cars. Sound good?
I mean, we've already sold GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption. I mean, we might even be able to sell it again. That sounds like a great deal. Thanks so much, Tesla Gaming. We'll talk to you soon.
Tesla would have to go through those deals individually with all these different publishers, negotiate all those different deals, and then all those publishers would have to port all their games so that they would work in Teslas. Take a while, but it could be way more profitable down the road.
Now, so far, we've only wondered whether Tesla should become a game platform like Steam or just license that platform into their cars. But there's another route that Tesla could take that would also be hugely profitable. Tesla could become a game publisher.
Yeah, as we already talked about a few minutes ago, some of the most profitable gaming companies are actual game publishers like Activision Blizzard, Take-Two, and Electronic Arts. And these are companies that mainly focus on making new content. They're kind of like a movie studio, right? They're going to come up with a plot. They're going to hire actors and voice actors and programmers and artists, and they're going to make the games, and they can cost millions of dollars to make.
And Tesla could decide to make big budget, AAA games on the scale of like The Witcher 3. But yeah, it would cost millions of dollars, and they wouldn't have the same platforms to sell it on. So for example, The Witcher 3 cost $70 million to make, and they netted around $350 million. But that's selling on consoles and PC, which are the two major places that you could actually play the game.
Right. I mean, that's selling, over 60 million copies of the game, and there's just not enough Tesla owners to make it profitable enough to make a game like that.
And so that probably isn't the route that Tesla is going to take, but they could still be a game publisher and make money. And here's how. They'd be more akin to a mobile game publisher.
Yeah, let's take a look at Supercell. You might be like, Supercell? What is that? Well, they have games like Heyday, Clash of Clans, Boom Beach, and Clash Royale. Now is it more familiar?
Right.
So Supercell made over $1.5 billion in revenue in 2019, and that's just from making games. And in fact, Supercell is owned by a bigger company, Tencent.
And there's a few reasons why mobile is a good fit for Tesla. First of all, these are games that are quick to start playing and quick to stop playing. Obviously, games that you need to play on your phone, you need to be like, oh, sorry, boss, I'm back to work. They also have lower computer requirements, so you don't have to have as powerful a GPU or a CPU.
Another nice one is they have family appeal. You probably don't want to be playing The Witcher with your 3-year-old in the back seat. But there's tons of mobile games you can play because most of them are family friendly.
And the biggest reason why anyone would ever want to make a mobile game is microtransactions.
What? What are microtransactions?
Well, if you've ever played a mobile game before, there was probably some kind of silver, gold, or gems or something.
Right.
And it was like, well, you could spend 4 hours trying to, grind through this crappy game to get your special house castle thing, or you could just spend 99 cents to get 8 gems, and with those 8 gems, we'll actually need to buy 2 packs of 8 gems, so that way you can buy 10 gems worth of, super potion points that you could put towards that house castle thing that you wanted. Basically, microtransactions are little bits of money that a game can be like, oh, with a little bit of money, it'll be easier for you.
Right, and people don't realize how much they're spending, right? Because it's like, oh, I only spent $1 on that gem pack, but then you did that every day for your entire life.
Right, and that is why mobile gamers spend about $80 a year playing mobile games, on average. And here's the interesting part. Most people don't spend any money playing the games. They know dang well that buying little gems and stuff isn't going to, it's just a cheat way to get where you're going in the dumb game that you're playing, and they know not to waste their money. But there are some people who spend thousands of dollars on microtransactions.
And so basically, Tesla could offer games for free, but make their money through in-game microtransactions. I hear what you guys are saying right now. You're like, wait a minute, guys. Elon's into sustainability. He wants to transform transportation and energy. What do games have to do with anything?
I mean, like, for instance, with the Model Y, they put the heat pump in the car, and then Elon said, hey, heat pumps are great. It would be great if Tesla made their own HVAC system. And you might be saying, well, I don't see how that's related to sustainability. But it is super related to sustainability because a lot of energy goes towards HVAC, and he wants to make a better air conditioning unit.
Right. So that's kind of where Tesla just fell into making a new thing. I would argue that gaming is another thing where Tesla just kind of fell into it. They're making a computer on wheels. So by its very nature, since you have a screen there and they already were like, hey, let's put some little fun games in there, they've kind of fallen into it. It's like, oh, wait a minute, we have a computer on wheels.
And we're not even getting into full self-driving yet. We'll get there. But I think that these games could be a little bit more sustainability-centric. It could be, instead of Farmville, it could be Farmville on Mars, build your Mars colony. There's plenty of games like that already. Wouldn't be too hard for Tesla to pour some resources into making a couple games like that. And yeah, if you need
The Adventures of Starman.
Right. And if you need to buy a couple extra Starship resupply missions, then $5, here we go.
Right. And I mean, I think this could really resonate with the Tesla base because we love what Elon's trying to do. And so if the games kind of reflected that in a fun way, and let's remember, Elon wants to prioritize fun.
I mean, yeah, if we take a look at what Elon wants to do in his life, it seems like the first one is sustainability, most notably the sustainability of human life. That's why he wants to get to Mars. And secondly is fun, because he does a lot of things that are just like, nothing but fun. There's no other reason for them aside from being fun. Those two things are kind of his philosophy. And I think that having a game in a car, well, he's already put a game in a car. What are we even arguing that point about for?
We already have a AAA game in a Tesla right now. We already have mobile games in a Tesla right now. That's cute. But full self-driving and the robotaxi network is when gaming becomes almost a necessity.
If you were to buy a Model S today and you wanted to play The Witcher in the car, it means going out to your car in the driveway and sitting there in the dark playing The Witcher 3 in your car.
Yeah, I do want to point out, for those of you who don't know about these games, that game has, I think, like 80 hours of playtime. And that's if you don't play all the extra side missions. So the game is designed to be played for hours and hours. And the only way you could do that nowadays would be, to sit in your garage or your driveway and play it.
And I'm not saying that it would be fun to do at the supercharger. It would, but unless you're driving, thousands of miles every day, I don't think that you're actually going to get through a game like The Witcher in any reasonable amount of time. If you're only doing it on the rare occasions where you're supercharging, you'd need to basically have it parked out in front of your house and be playing it in the driveway like a weirdo.
But now let's picture a future where full self-driving and the robotaxi network are here. Let's say it's 2025. Jesse goes to work in a robotaxi and he goes home every day in a robotaxi. So there's an hour in the car, let's say, every day, which is perfect for gaming, especially if multiplayer becomes an option.
Even if multiplayer doesn't become an option, you have pretty much the best sound system you could ask for in a car. You have a big screen right in front of you. And all of these things combined is much better than phone gaming. And also, if I'm playing The Witcher 3, my phone can't handle that. So one other aspect would be that if I had a passenger in the car, we could both be playing a game at the same time. We could be having a local co-op. We could get back to having split screen again. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, again, you can't do that with a phone.
No. Now, right now, most of the games that are available in the Model 3, I would argue, are on the scale of mobile games. And I think we should also kind of wrap in the mobile handheld market that has disappeared with the advent of phone games, because the Stardew Valley and Polytopia, even Beach Buggy Racing is they're all pretty much something you could have on your phone. Mm-hmm. But the refreshed Model S and X are going to set themselves apart from the Model 3 and Y because of the powerful computer that can run a full game. The question now becomes, will Tesla keep the differentiation going forward, or will all their cars eventually have powerful gaming computers on them?
So let's look at the advantages and disadvantages. So the advantage of mobile is that all the cars are ready for that now. And mobile is a huge revenue generator. So Tesla could even become a mobile game publisher, like we said, and take all of that revenue stream And the good news is it wouldn't really be that taxing on the computer in the car.
The disadvantage is that it's less exciting for game connoisseurs like me who wouldn't be that happy playing a mobile game day in, day out.
And I guess this goes to sales, right? Jesse's not going to buy the car just because of mobile games. If he hears about it that like you can play Candy Crush in the car, he's going to be like, well, I can play that on my phone. So why would I buy the car just for that? Now, if Tesla decides to put the full gaming computer in all their cars, the disadvantage is it's a little bit more costly. But the advantage is that they would be able to offer these full like AAA games, which I would argue have an excitement factor, right? It's a huge brand for young people.
Yeah, video games are not going away. With the advent of esports and watching other people play video games on the internet, which has become a huge trend, one that doesn't seem to be going away. I mean, they're giving away Teslas at esporting events. How long is it before the Teslas are in the esport arena?
Right.
That's basically free advertising for Tesla by having the coolest car for gamers. And that's a huge, again, we're talking 60% of the population are gamers. You're making your brand a little bit more attractive, even if you aren't putting the full scale computer in all of your cars. But now we're going to run into a problem when we have full self-driving and full scale games, because when a robotaxi comes to pick you up, even if it knows that you want to play The Witcher 3, it might not have The Witcher 3 installed on the computer in the car.
Oh, right, because it takes a lot of gigabytes of storage to store a big game like that.
Right, we're talking on the order of 30 to 50 to 80 gigabytes of data. And if it has to download that on the way to pick you up, even if it's 7 or 8 minutes away, that's not enough time for you to be able to load the game and start playing immediately. So what Tesla might want to do is do something a little bit more similar to Google Stadia.
What's Google Stadia?
So this is a cloud gaming service.
Okay.
Essentially what it is you don't have to own the computer at all. You just need to have something that can send your inputs like walk forward, attack, and turn the camera around, and it will send you video through the internet.
Okay, but if my car's driving, let's say on the highway, how am I going to send all that data to the car and back?
Well, we're talking about a few years in the future when we're talking about full self-driving. So 5G and maybe even Starlink.
Oh, Starlink.
So having super connectivity either would mean that you could download the game a lot quicker, maybe on your way to pick someone up, or you would just stream the game to the car. And the advantage of that would be you could pick up right where you left off.
This is really cool because, Tesla could be the first with this tech. And especially with Starlink, they might be able to figure out how to do this when no one else can, which would mean that only robotaxis would have what I want to call the full gaming continuum.
And
trademark.
And this would work really well with multiplayer because you'd have this high bandwidth multiplayer. So you could kind of be, kind of carpooling to a certain extent with your friends or with your coworkers on your way to work and on your way home from work.
But this goes beyond gaming. I just thought of a whole bunch of other uses where you could do like video conferencing, all kinds of like work stuff. You could, do meetings and your knitting club, all through like a Tesla Zoom kind of thing. And what would be really cool here is, imagine you get off the plane, you're on a Zoom call on your phone, you have to get into a robotaxi to get to the hotel, and as soon as you get into the robotaxi, your Zoom call just gets miraculously put up onto the screen where you continue your call, you get out of the car at the hotel, it's now back on your phone, like all seamless.
You were working way too hard. Something like that, but yeah, just having, a knitting club on your way to work as opposed to playing a video game, or you could do the Dungeons and Dragons route with all your friends on your way to work. There's lots of different stuff that you can do. And actually, we're not even that far away from that. Even today, if you were willing to pay for even 4G, you could probably do some of those things. It would be a little bandwidth limited, but especially once we get into 5G, and especially if we had Starlink, then all of these things would be a walk in the park.
Now, I know what you've been asking this entire episode. How much is this worth? Is it worth doing? And so Jesse and I sat down, made ourselves a little back of the napkin spreadsheet, and we figured out some things. We made some assumptions, though, and we want to walk you through them. First, I assumed that Tesla would want to become a platform, so like a Steam. And I also assumed that Tesla would want to become a mobile game publisher. And so Those are two big assumptions here.
And we're making those assumptions because they would be the most profitable in the long run. So let's say first, this year, Tesla decides that they're going to buy a few small game studios, and they're going to spend maybe $100 million to acquire all of them. And that way they have them all under one roof and all making games of a particular type for the cars. The games don't come out this year. It's just... this is the first step.
All right, so 2022, Tesla launches Tesla Mobile Gaming. And these are games that really stand out by having a sustainability focus. And the other cool thing I think they would have is the Mobile Gaming Continuum. Trademark.
So, yeah, I mean, it would basically be just an app store where you could buy some games that Tesla has created. Maybe they would have microtransactions in them, which would, maybe you'd need to pay for the games themselves, or maybe they'd be free with microtransactions. Who knows?
So then in 2023, I conjectured that Tesla would launch their full gaming platform. This would be just like a Steam platform where you could buy lots and lots of different games, and Tesla would take a cut. So if you bought a $50 game, Tesla, we estimated, would take a 10% cut. Do you think that's fair?
Well, currently, Steam takes about a 30% cut for sales under $10 million, 25% for under $50 million, and even big game developers are only getting about 80% of the revenue.
All right, so this is really fair, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there could actually be some more money that Tesla could take. But the question here would be, would you only be able to play the game on your Tesla? Or would you also be able to like come home and play it on your PC?
That's what I think they should do.
Because PC is an open platform for that kind of thing. Where if Tesla said, hey, we want to have it on both, you know, the Tesla and the PC, I think that they could do that.
Then in 2025, we assumed that the full self-driving would start and that we'd have robo-taxis pop up in maybe one or two cities in the world, and Tesla would announce the full game continuum. So basically you could play Witcher at home, hop into a robo-taxi and pick up right where you left off, and it would be seamless.
Now, we made a lot of assumptions, and we put the whole spreadsheet up on Patreon so you can take a look, but let's get to the bottom line.
All right, so by our back-of-the-napkin math, with our assumptions that we just talked about, Tesla could be looking at a profit of, get this, $56 billion by 2032 just for their gaming division. That's not revenue, that's profit.
And even if you don't want to look out 10 years, Tesla would see a profit of over $5 billion in 2028.
And the thing here is we didn't really try that hard to make money. We made a very super conservative spreadsheet. And so these profits are with us basically not even trying that hard.
Now, a lot of this hinges on the robotaxi network being a thing, because one of the ideas that we came up with would be Tesla would come up with a robotaxi network and then say, hey, you are using the robotaxi network. Here you are in the car, and there's a big screen in front of you, and the screen could be telling you, hey, do you want to watch YouTube videos? Do you want to be watching Netflix? Do you want to be playing games? And you'd be going, yeah, I really do want to do all of that.
Well, then sign up for a free trial.
Right.
Only $9.99 a month after that.
Boom. And I think a lot of people, especially after being advertised to, like, hey, you could, on this 45-minute, trip, you could be watching Netflix. You could be playing games. I think that people are going to cave, because just sitting in a waiting room for 30 minutes has caused me to download mobile games even when I don't ever want to have them on my phone.
I mean, just think of how many things you're subscribed to right now, Amazon Prime or Netflix or Hulu. I mean, there's lots of things that we all sign up for to get content. This would be more content.
And it's not even that crazy, because right now Tesla has the premium connectivity plan that if you have a Tesla, you have to pay $10 a month in order to get Netflix in your car. And people are willing to pay that, and they're barely in their cars watching Netflix all that often.
Really good point.
So I think that this one's an easy one. You could probably charge even more, because for the first time in the whole world, you're actually going from point A to point B, and you have a television in front of you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should talk about planes, because that's the only other time that you're seated in a chair with a screen directly in your face, and you're willing to spend a lot of money on that little teeny tiny screen.
It's a really good point. Before we get there, though, I think you should comment below what we should name this network. I mean, I think the Continuum is awesome, but maybe you've got something even better. So please comment below and let us know what that could be. But you bring up a good point here, Jesse, about planes. Tesla is going to have this completely exclusive universe of cars and users that will be captive for long periods of time every day while they're commuting. And we're just talking about gaming. We're not even really talking about the productivity software like video conferencing and Office and email. But yeah, think of the last time you were captive. And an airplane is a really good example. You're stuck on a plane for a while. What do you do on that plane?
you're going to sit there and you're going to go, man, I'm really bored. After your phone dies or after you've run out of downloaded content on your phone, you're going to go, oh, I want to watch a movie. Oh, the movie's only $3. Okay, I'll put in my swipe. Okay, great. I'm feeling kind of hungry. I want a sandwich. Oh, gee, you know.
At $12.99 for a BLT.
You know, like, okay, I guess, because there's no, I mean, I can't go to a store. I'm stuck in a plane and I can't even really get out of my seat. So, okay, swipe and, oh, thank you. This is the worst sandwich I've ever eaten and paid the most money for.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
And I mean, it happens anywhere. If you're at a ball game or a movie theater. I mean, think about the last time you were at a movie theater. I mean, last time I can remember, I got like a drink and a popcorn for like more than I would have paid for a dinner at a restaurant.
We're all kind of used to being captive in certain places. And now Tesla's going to have us on our commute. The one place where right now we're not really free because you're stuck driving. Like it's like you have this other job that you have to do and you're not even paid for it.
Right.
Now you actually get that as free time, although you're kind of beholden to Tesla on it, but at least it's better than driving, right?
And I want to go back to the monopoly part. I mean, if Tesla is the first and first for a long while to have this, they won't even have to worry about a competing service like Uber or Lyft, right? Because if there were multiple services, you'd be like, well, I'll just take an Uber. They have a cheaper movie package or a cheaper gaming package, but that won't exist.
And I think that Tesla is way out ahead for one really stupid reason. If you take a look at Zoox, right? They have two seats facing each other. I'm sorry, go into any living room in all of America. Do you have two couches facing each other? Do we sit like this? Do we talk to each other like this? Oh, yes, absolutely. No, you only do that when you're eating. That's the only time that we accept that.
That's a good
when
point.
you are sitting and you want to relax, you want a big screen in front of you. And that's exactly what Tesla is bringing to the table, is that there is no, oh, hi. No, because again, no one wants that. They want to be watching content while they're sitting there, not doing anything, moving through the world. And that is why I think Tesla is going to be successful. What a dumb, little, stupid reason that all of these other autonomous driving network companies are like, we want the human connection to be there. No, you don't. People don't want that. They just want to sit there and watch something on a big screen.
And that's a really good point, Jesse. Also, it's that Elon brought this to us pretty much out of just the fun aspect. And so it wasn't, I don't think it was ever like a conscious decision. I think it was just like, hey, this would be fun. There's a computer screen. And so he's introduced this idea to us, and now we're all falling in love with it.
And I think that that is Elon's strength. His philosophy of sustainability to the nth degree and fun is a pretty exciting world to live in.
Yeah, because for the longest time, sustainability meant not fun. It meant you had to make sacrifices, and it was just like, I've decided to be sustainable. See you guys.
Yeah, I can't enjoy life as we know it. I have to go live in a wooden shack.
And drive a Leaf.
And now that Elon has taken, what does it mean to be sustainable all the way through to basically the survival of humankind, moving us to other planets to double the chances that some cosmic dice roll doesn't kill all of humanity, and adding fun, I think that it's just a recipe for success in business, which is kind of wild.
Yeah. I mean, just think of businesses like Amazon, where the way this business grew started with a bookstore, an online bookstore. What a weird way to get there. It's morphed into an entertainment network, Prime. And it's morphed into AWS, a computer server network. Like, what? All because that's what the founder, Jeff Bezos, was interested in.
Right.
Here we have a company where Elon's interested in fun, so we have cars that are full of fun.
Yeah, I mean, he was writing computer games when he was a kid, so it only makes sense that he'd want to put video games in his cars.
Yeah. And if you're a stockholder in Tesla, this is good news because this could become a reality. I hope that Tesla has already realized this and that they're understanding that, wow, we've already got the computer on wheels. Let's just go for it. Let's make Tesla gaming.
Right. Having a screen in front of a captive audience is one of the few things in the world that is almost guaranteed to make you money. Even if you go before screens, we still had something that we would all sit and watch, whether it was theater or people killing each other. We would sit there and watch it, and we would pay a premium to do it. And that's exactly what Tesla is going to be doing in the 21st century.
But maybe we're crazy. So comment below if you think we missed something. Maybe there's some reason we missed that this possibly can't work.
Yeah,
so
we're all going to
let us know.
Bird watchers. We're just all going to get really into watching birds on our commutes into work every day.
Could be. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this in depth. We hope that it was fun to watch, and we hope that you got some ideas from it, because that's why we do the show.
And we'll see you next week. Now you know.